right.
Welcome to Manifest Gratitude, your weekly dose of gratitude, good news,
Mhm.
good feelings,
Oh, yeah.
whatever you need to pick you up and take you the rest of the way through the week. I am so excited for this particular podcast because I have B Pack as my special guest as she shares some very exciting information
Mhm.
and good news that she is involved in and something that will help pick us up. You know, we are in such a time that it frustrates us, it makes us angry and
Mhm.
whatever, but we always need something that will settle our spirits and let us know that we are greater than
Yes.
anything on the outside of us, that we have a power within us that can carry us through any storm.
So
And
true.
I want to welcome B to the podcast tonight.
Mhm.
And B, I am going to let you introduce yourself because not only are you the gold driver and a personal life coach, you know, I met B in our training for life to
Mhm.
be life coaches. And she's also involved in so many more things. So, hi, B, and
Hi.
please introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me to be present on Gratitude Series with you. I'm excited as well. And I guess to define myself, I'm a person who believes everyone has a story, and I cheer for the underdog. And I also work with people who are food insecure and just whatever areas that I can help people help themselves. So I'm a mom, grandma, and I retired. And I've written a couple of essays and books, anthologies, and I'm excited about being able to storytell as well. So
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out. But you know, you were talking about your book, and one of the things we I really wanted to talk about tonight is your
Mhm.
latest book. What is Loving Wisdom?
Living wisdom, correct.
Loving, yeah, Loving Wisdom is their new book, and what I like about it is something about the times in which we're living right now. But what I like about the book, it is not complaining
Mm,
about what the situation is
mm,
that we're going through,
true.
but it's some little tidbits or messages
Hmm.
that helps us move through these times. And even earlier, the first book that I encountered with B, and this is their third, but
Yes.
it's constantly giving us some wisdom, some loving wisdom, something that we just like a little tidbit that we can take away with us as you read or use the material as a companion.
Hmm.
So, B, can you tell us a little bit more about, you know, the loving wisdoms and your project that you're doing
Okay. Absolutely, I'd love to.
right now?
Loving wisdom is it's born out of COVID-19 when everybody was had to be still, and Gail Washington, the visionary, brought mindful women together to share their story at a time that our nation was stalled in despair. And from that, wisdom whisperers came about and shared stories in the time of tragedy that hopefully gave some hope and encouragement and showed women how you can be resilient through some of the storms that you may encounter in life. And then after that, she continued with volume two, which I became a part of, Loving Wisdom, a second collection of stories that nourish the soul. And my story in that particular version dealt with caregiving. It's like if you live long enough, you're going to either be cared for or you're going to be caring for someone. And so I felt very compelled with that because I caregive for a sister. We the story is all about bringing her from New York back to Michigan, and the gratitude that she expressed and the joy that we got from being able to care for her. So gratitude works both ways. And then the last and third volume of Loving Wisdom is a reflection on cultivating fearless conversations. And I just would like to read something from the back of the book, if I might, Eleanor. It says,
Sure.
Loving Wisdom is a collection of essays and letters, reflections that invite readers to pause, breathe, reconnect with what matters most. Through heartfelt reflections and conversation starters, the Wisdom Whisperers offer practical guidance for navigating uncertainty through faith, empathy, family bonds, and the gift of honest conversation, reminding us of the healing power of compassion, faith, and community, all based in gratitude.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that picked the book up, you know how we read the jackets or the back of the
Yes,
book,
right.
would really want you to, would really want to take that and read more of it. And you know what I like about the whispers is the compassion
Mm-hmm.
and just the term whispers.
Yes,
You
whispers.
always
Yes,
think about, whispering something to a friend
yes.
because the thing that moves us the most
Mm-hmm.
is not the noise.
Yes,
It's
so
not the
true.
clamoring. It is that still small voice.
Get your
That,
attention.
yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
really gets your attention, that
Mm-hmm.
really get you to hear. And as we talk about, gratitude, no way that we can move through the period of time that we're in right now
True.
without stopping for a moment
Mm-hmm.
and remembering what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Do not, the whisper thing just means so much because it's saying, get out of the noise.
Yes, get out of the noise.
Turn down the noise. Somebody even did a song, turn down the noise,
Yeah,
turn
right.
down the sounds, whatever.
Yes.
And that's what you need to do because
Mm-hmm.
there is so much wisdom that comes from each of us,
Mm-hmm.
that's already baked into our
Mm-hmm.
heart, baked into our souls.
Yes.
But if we are out there with all the noise, we can't hear it.
We're
Can't,
distracted.
yes, we're too
Mm-hmm.
distracted. And when you have something like that inviting you to the whisper,
Yes.
to the
And
whisper,
whisper is so intimate and it's personalized. It's not a message at everyone at the same time, but it's personalized to that individual or that group that you're talking to. And so yes, I loved it too, Whisperers, because it's very personal.
yes, and as we talk about, going back to the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
although sometimes I feel where we are now is probably a little bit more than the pandemic. But
Right.
when you,
Chaos.
yes, yes, but when you think of all the things
Mm-hmm.
that we are experiencing, the only antidote to me
Mm-hmm.
is the gratitude, the stuff that we are grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into that mode of being grateful and giving thanks, it can let that other stuff slide away. In
True.
fact, for a moment, you really forget about it
Yes,
because
that
you're
is so
so,
true. Because you're setting another mindset. Because
yeah,
gratitude, when you're in a mindset of gratitude, it shows you feel there's some hope, there's positivity somewhere
yes.
in the scenario that you will overcome, like you've done previously.
Yes, you can get yourself lost. And that's why I continue to do these series,
Mm-hmm.
like I do a weekly every Monday, a little tidbit
Yes.
that you can carry through the week. And then midweek here in these longer or stronger conversations,
Yes.
because we can never talk about gratitude enough. We can
True.
never talk about how much we live
Mm-hmm.
in an attitude of gratitude, whether we acknowledge it or not.
True.
because there's so much function, things that are functioning within our own bodies, in our environment, in our
Mm-hmm.
families.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes me back to the part that I like about your stories,
Mm-hmm.
about the books, how each person did their essay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the more appealing thing
Mm-hmm.
about the book was not a scenario about or regurgitation
Yes.
about what's happening, but it's just sharing um, some love, some wisdom. How do you talk to people as we go through this time?
Mm-hmm.
Um, to me, that was really heart touching, and just shared again when you the letters or how each member
Mm-hmm.
of the team, the assignment that you had for this one, the first one, at least the first one I
Mm-hmm.
encountered, you were telling like for about caregivers and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But right now, when I read part, it was talking to people. It
Yes.
was like a letter to a friend, a
Yes.
letter to a loved one. Uh,
Correct. And
that's
it's shared. That's true. That with this particular book, we did personalize it. Like I said, whispers are personal and they're geared toward a certain
mhm,
audience or group or person individual. And so you're correct. With this particular book, we personalize it by sending letters to whether it be our younger selves or
yes.
one lady wrote, one of the whisperers wrote a letter to her sister because they had an intimate relationship and how they worked through difficult situations. And then mine was to dear community, family, and friends, because I wanted to look at a larger scale to be able to address individuals and hopefully get them to think more about what can we do as together versus the division that was coming out of 2024 during the election process and all the different
Mhm.
changes in how we move forward as a nation. And so my thought was to can we find parity somewhere where we can find what our likes are as opposed to our differences, because our differences are pretty much obvious, but can we dig deep with those conversations and pull from that the parity and the common ground that we possess where we become humanized with each other and find a working place to move forward.
Yeah, I think that is just what we need. I
Hope
always say
so.
a primer,
Yes.
um, because there's so many things that just help remind us of the primer. I remember I grew up, a large part of my life was on a farm,
Oh.
and back in the day, a lot of my life was in the 40s,
Mm-hmm.
and we had that pump, the well and the pump
Mm-hmm.
out back.
Yes.
And what you had to do, we had this mason jar of water. And one of the most important things about that mason jar of water, you could not, drink or spill that water, because that's the water that you poured in the pump to prime the pump to
Ah.
get the flow of water.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a little cup,
Mm-hmm.
probably now 8 or 12 ounces, but you poured it in and you kept pumping, and then it would catch on the priming the pump, and
Mm-hmm.
you could pump that thing all day long as you didn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had that little bit of
Just to
water,
start. Yeah.
you can put it in there
Mm-hmm.
and start the flow of the water for as
Mm-hmm.
long as you desired to pump it. So when we have things like the whispers and other little tips, we just
Mm-hmm.
need primers sometimes
Yes.
to
Yes.
help us remember who we are. And I think that's something that um, gratitude sort of add to that, being
Yes.
thankful, because one thing about that, you have to remember who you are.
True.
Especially, I know everybody's got a story,
Mm-hmm.
but I know mine best. When I
Mm-hmm.
say mine, not only my personal story, but my cultural story
Mm-hmm.
of where the people that I come from, the journey
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh
they were
yes.
on.
Mm-hmm.
And the when you think about it, some people say you just make you want to shout hallelujah, but you give thanks and praise for how far we've come, because there has been obstacles
True.
all the way from emancipation till today.
True.
And I feel like not today is trying to egg people on.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like people want a reaction
Mm-hmm. They're
from
looking
us.
for yeah, you're right.
Yes. But when you find, not only in this time,
Mm-hmm.
but I like, for yourself, if you can share with that, but not for this time, but in any situation that you find yourself in that's a little difficult. I mean, it might be something that got you awfully angry, disappointed, or just trying to figure something out. I find my way out by because I got a whole lot to be grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm not in somebody black and white suit today, sitting
Really, the
behind
things
some
that you probably
monitor.
encountered, yeah,
And the things that, as a young person and a teenager,
that we do.
yeah,
True.
that
True.
I mean, I can go on and on and on when
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to gratitude, but
Yes.
when we think about it, I think we have to, and I'm going to ask you to share in the many ways that we
Mm.
can, in our expressing our gratitude. And sometimes gratitude is expressed by doing something for somebody else.
True.
Do you have any thoughts on?
I definitely agree with you. And the example you gave about the small amount of water
Mhm.
that managed the whole process. You just, people sometimes I think they're overwhelmed and say, you can't make a difference. It doesn't matter. One person doesn't, they can't cause change. But I think
Mhm.
that's not true. I believe that it starts with someone, and then it's just like that ripple of water. It vibrates and vibrates until it gets bigger and bigger. And before you know it, there's a movement. And that's
Mm.
what we're hoping with our writings, is that people will reflect and, like you said, be still and think and remove yourself from all the noise, so you'll have the opportunity to remember the things that you already triumphed over, and the things that you're stronger than what it appears in that moment. Because when you're constantly hearing the noise and it's not
Right.
nonstop, you need a moment to regroup. You get
Yeah.
caught up in the chaos.
Yeah, you're like sleepwalking when you're in that constant
Mm-hmm.
noise, that constant movement, and
Yes.
it takes time to step out of that,
Mm-hmm.
to get a chance to reflect. And the
Reflect.
other part, yeah, to reflect on what's happening. But another piece that's important,
Mm-hmm.
I think about, how you throw a pebble in a pond or
Mm-hmm.
in the water,
Oh yeah.
like it hits and then it begins to vibrate out.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the
True.
ripples moving and moving.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I say that we all, whoever you are, whatever you have or whatever you don't have, can make a difference.
Can make a difference. And I think
Yeah.
about too, Eleanor, when you're engrossed in all the media and all the information and the hostility,
Mhm.
you're zooming in on that. But when you give yourself the opportunity to zoom out, you start seeing so much more potential than when you're just focused on one negative thing that you're constantly hearing. And
Right.
that's what this getting together with women and coming up with this project, it took us away from all that, where we could focus and reflect on where we were, where we are now, and how to get to that best place. And so the letters that we wrote, at the end of each letter, it has questions that will hopefully engage you
Hmm.
to have your own conversations with people that people that might be difficult to deal with, but you feel that through
Hmm.
gratitude, through positioning yourself in a place of positivity and wanting to hear that they're important too, that hopefully you can come up with some place that you guys find something, a cause that you're both in common with. And I think that's what we need more, to see where we're
Hmm.
in common with, instead of the division that we're constantly hearing day by day.
Yes. And the other thing to draw an analogy of, when I talked about the ripple in the pond or the
Mm-hmm.
little cup of water that
Mm-hmm.
brings out, is to observe. I'm not telling you not to say
Mm-hmm.
thank you to people that do things, or uh, I mean, even in the grocery store, when you're, I guess I'm just in the habit of just
Me
saying thank
too.
you. But a challenge would be to see how, as you go through your day, many times, just to write it down at the end of the day, how many times have someone, in any kind of exchange, said thank you or any kind of acknowledgement, or is it just the process of the exchange? Have you ever
Mm.
thought about that and what that would?
Well, I hadn't really thought about it. So right now you're bringing it up, and I'm thinking about today currently, how many people have said, or I've said thank you to. I would say I was gifted with just a small thing of, okay, I'm going to bring you breakfast today. That's not something that we do all the time, but I had breakfast brought to me, and I was grateful for that act of kindness. So
Hmm.
the fruit of gratitude. And I said thank you, and the person, you could tell that made them even want to help or do something more for me the next time, because people like to know when they do things for you that you appreciate it. Who doesn't like
Yeah.
to be appreciated? And so why not express that to someone?
Yes.
And then it is a ripple effect. It does carry. So I think that's a part of everyday living.
And I think that's an art
It is.
that we are losing,
Ah.
because when you do, you're not doing it for the thank you, because some
Hmm.
of the things you do, thank you is
Yeah.
just whatever. But I've noticed with, some of the younger generation and older too,
Hmm.
um, like you may give graduation
Mm.
gifts, birthday gifts, other
Mm.
things that at our generation your parents taught you when
Mm.
to say thank you.
That's a good point. I hear you.
And I think that's the art that we're losing.
Hmm.
And just to think about it as you go through, how many times, you might encounter that. But for me, I think it helps grow when you do say thank you, and
Hmm.
you do kind things. You were going to say something.
Yeah, because I hadn't really thought about it when you talked about the age groups. I have noticed that more with certain age groups, like some of the younger age groups, they're not saying it as much. Because now I'm thinking I've given graduation gifts or birthday gifts, or
And
they ask you for something, and they never really talk to you on any kind of basis. It's just when I need. So
Mhm.
you're right. I guess we do need to, in our younger people, try to cultivate more the power of gratitude, the power of saying thank you. So you're right. That is an art. It can be an art, especially with certain demographics. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so many things that
Hmm.
I know we're moving faster than we've ever
Oh, they
moved in terms of
faster.
information
Right.
and things. And I think it's just developing another prototype of persons or people. But it's not letting go.
Hmm.
I think we can grow without letting go. I believe that has happened to us as a people and a culture,
Hmm.
when we entered a phase of integration, that we lost
Hmm.
a lot of what was so precious
True.
and what brought us thus far along the way.
To-
So when we are encountering life and living now, that's why we do these gratitudes,
mhm.
because we want you to take a minute and think about something. We can't breathe without having something to be thankful for.
True.
You know,
This is true. The
even if
little
it's the
things,
rough.
the little things. I mean, I had a warm cup of tea today and I thought about it. I was intentional. I'm trying to be more intentional. That's my goal in life, of the small miracles that we overlook daily. Just being able to get out of bed and move, being able to have the ability to think and write story, being able to call a friend and have a conversation or tell them that you care about them. To me, all that is cultivating an attitude of gratitude, and all those, all the different attributes that come with being grateful,
Right.
that you reap so much from that, not just for others but for yourself, even even hormonally with the cortisol buildup. I mean, gratitude and being thankful and displaying those things from to one to the other, it's reciprocal. It really is.
Yes. You like the gratitude muscle,
Yeah, right.
that you have.
Right.
Um, because it's to me, and doing and having these conversations
Mm-hmm.
is like building a muscle, building a shield that
Mm-hmm.
can take us further.
Just the
And
connection with you in this
the-
in these conversations that we have, I leave feeling lifted. I leave feeling like, oh, I mattered. It made a difference. She made a difference. And so hopefully that energy the listeners get in return.
yeah, yeah, and each one of the people that listen to this
Mm-hmm.
podcast and people that you talk to, I talk to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, it's just so small to start your own gratitude challenge in
Yes.
terms of saying thank you. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
these sticky notes that everybody have now, sometimes just put a thank you on a sticky note and
Right.
leave it,
It matters.
leave it on the table, refrigerator, on a desk, or a
Mm-hmm.
computer monitor at work,
Well, I
or
did like 30 sticky notes on the mirror and where my daughter is, and she went into the room and I could see her smiling in the mirror because I had sticky notes, all of her gifts and her purpose. She'd ask, "Well, what do you feel like my purpose is and my gifts?" And I sat there and thought about all these things and I
oh,
stuck them on the
wonderful.
mirror, and you should have seen how she glowed for the next week. I mean, how could you not?
How
Because
not?
sometimes you need someone to just cheerlead you on, and that's
Yes.
powerful, and it made me feel good too to see her feeling
Yes.
really good about it.
Yes.
So we need to do those acts of kindness more.
Because they are, because when you do something,
Mm-hmm.
rather you are there or not,
Mm-hmm.
but I like it a lot when I feel the warmth
Yes.
of doing it, rather the person have received it or not. I have such
You did
anticipation
it. You're good at that.
for
You're
them.
a giver. You're very good at that.
Thank you for them to receive. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um but again, these conversations are just to remind you of
Mm-hmm.
who you are and
True.
whose you
Whose you
are.
are. You're
Yes.
right. You're right.
And- yeah, and that we've come, I don't care how old you are, but
Right.
we've come thus far.
Yes.
I can't remember, we come this far leaning on
Leaning
the
on the
arm,
Lord.
leaning there, and that is also become leaning on the arm of the Lord. We
Yes.
lean on the faith that we've been
Yes.
given,
Mm-hmm.
and we lean on the goodness of people.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't
Love it.
always count that goodness in the same way,
Mm-hmm.
but gratitude is like the air we breathe.
True. It is so
Uh,
true. It's so
it
true. We take it for granted, but it
do.
has helped sustain me year after year when I've confronted
Ah,
so many difficult situations. The truth in gratitude, some of the tough things that you have to deal with, whether it's the doctor
mhm.
saying, "Hey, you're dealing with this situation right now. You have to make a choice whether you're going to do this or that." But you always try to find hope that it's going to work out. It's much better to me than not having that.
Yes, and I'm as we go forward,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much. There's research on gratitude
Mm-hmm.
out there at the University of California, Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
They
Oh
have a
yeah.
whole center, the Greater Good Center,
Yes.
that where they literally studied as a scientific
Mm-hmm.
study
Yes.
the effects of gratitude
Mm-hmm.
in all aspects of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to try and get a conversation with one of those
Wouldn't
researchers.
it be awesome?
It really would be because
Mm-hmm.
they talk about our health. They
Mm-hmm.
have really studied our physical and mental health, the impact that gratitude has on on our lives, and
Yes. On our
even
well-being, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and even in situations where people are incarcerated,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing some studies on gratitude. And when I first saw that, I was like, if I was in prison, I'm not too sure I have
Right.
something.
How would you come up with? But people are people, no matter where, what their environment is. People can, I believe, you can transform yourself if you have people that believe in you, that are giving you things to reflect upon and build upon outside of what you're seeing. That's faith. I mean, faith without somebody to kind of help you with the works is not as productive as if you have people that come in a situation like that that seems doom and gloom, and show you that here's ways you can escape. You can escape through reading.
Hmm.
There's libraries. Look at Malcolm X and different people who were
Yes.
incarcerated, and they
Hmm.
found hope in educating themselves through books. And books are powerful.
Yeah.
Stories are
Right.
powerful. And so I do agree with
Absolutely.
you. Yeah, you would think maybe, oh, that can't happen. But if you keep your mind open and
Yes.
explore the things that are in front of you, though they may be few, with the right mindset, you can pull yourself out. It's been proven over and over again.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? In life, no matter what, whether you're running, whether you're walking, it's
Yes.
still one step at a
One
time,
step at a time.
one
One
lap
step at
at
a
a time.
time. Exactly.
Yes. And go ahead.
I was thinking as we were talking about that, like you said, one step at a time, one person at a time, and one vision at a time can be a trickle effect, can be a vibration, a ripple effect, a
Yes.
vibration. I wanted to share with you a quote that I love. I discovered it. It's an anthropologist, and her name is Margaret Mead. And she kind of
Yes.
speaks to that because she says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And if you think about all the movements that we've had, the Martin Luther
Yes.
Kings of the world and
Yes.
the Malcolm X's of the world, and
Hmm.
anybody who has done something to
Yes.
promote wellness and human kindness,
Yeah.
it started with one, and then
Yeah.
it built little by little by little. People,
Yes.
became a part of that movement. I think that's
Hmm.
the fear of where we are now, is to keep us divided so we can't see the
Hmm.
hope and the parity in each other. And that's what I
Yes.
want people to get away from and to challenge themselves to see. And in our book, we talk about resources and different
Hmm.
things that we can offer in hopes that you will discover more about other
Hmm.
people and about yourself.
Yeah, and you were speaking of Margaret Mead, Dr.
Hmm.
Mead there, but I was thinking when you start, I was thinking about Harriet Tubman and some of the
Yes.
other great heroes
Yes.
of our past,
Yes. So
Mary
true.
McLeod Bethune and others,
It's amazing.
how they have one person, one
One
thought,
person
one belief.
persevere. Harriet
Yes,
Tubman, she came back and got other, amazing, fearless.
yes. And I love Mary McLeod Bethune's story, how she got some of the industrialists of her day, Rockefeller and
Yes. Brilliant
Carnegie.
woman. Hmm.
Yes, and brought them, she wanted them to support her school.
Wow.
And she brought them before her vision to,
Hmm.
what she wanted them to invest in.
Hmm.
And when the story says when she got there, when they arrived, it
Hmm.
was a garbage heap, and she was giving them all the background of the
Yes.
story, what was going to be here.
Right.
And one of them said, "But Mrs. Methune, this is a garbage heap." She says, "A garbage heap to you is an institution to me."
I love it. I love
So
it.
in seeing it, so
Perspective.
absolutely. So
Mhm.
every Wednesday, join us. You see, we just have conversation
We have conversation.
talking about
Yeah.
gratitude in so
Mhm.
many different ways.
So many
So
different ways.
I invite you to continue to tune and as a podcast, you don't have Wednesdays at 6,
Mhm.
but it's out there in the cloud
I love it.
after this. So
Yes.
join us. I would
Yes.
love that. We're every Wednesday at
Mhm.
6 o'clock and
Mhm.
every Monday on our Facebook page,
Mhm.
Merck Resource
Yes.
Facebook page,
Mhm.
we have a nugget. And this Manifest Gratitude 44
Yes.
on YouTube.
YouTube.
And you can, every Wednesday is fresh, but it's always there for you to pick up and for you to listen. And B, I thank you so much
I'm so happy to
for,
be a part of it. I'm sure that once we're off of this, I will continue to walk into that gratitude and that thankfulness and the feelings that
yes.
we shared today. So I'm really grateful and thankful for it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for, sharing with you. And again, the book that's coming out for the first of the year
Yes.
is your book again is
Loving
Loving
wisdom. Yes.
Loving
Loving
Wisdom,
wisdom. Please
and
pick up a
people
copy.
can find it in
You'll be able to find
Amazon.
it on Amazon. We're going to put it on our personal landing pages as well. And also, Ingram Sparks will be releasing it to several different retail outlets as well.
Okay,
So,
and
yeah, we're
and
looking forward to having conversations.
and when it's out there in the public, let me know, and
Okay.
I'll put it on my two outlets. So again,
Um,
manifest gratitude.
Manifest gratitude. Check out, as Eleanor said, check out the nuggets. I love them. The music is soothing. If I'm having a hard week, I go in and tune into Facebook and I get that uplift. So I challenge you to check it out. You won't regret it. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. I'm glad you're listening. And hey, people, I will see you next week.
Next week.
Um, and don't forget to check out the nuggets. And
Mm-hmm.
then, hey, let me tell you this, leave a comment.
Mm.
If you have a comment you want us to talk about, somebody you
Oh,
want
that's
us
a
to
great
talk
idea.
to,
Yes.
uh, do that. And please, on the YouTube channel, Manifest Gratitude 44, subscribe.
Hmm.
Subscribe, and that'll help us out
Happy
tremendously.
hollidays to everyone.
And the same
Mhm.
to
All right. Take care.
UB and
Good
those.
to see you.
Okay, have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.